Hello everyone. So I am going to read the rest of Krindlekrax to you. So you should have the document in front of you if you've downloaded it from the blog. We're going to read from chapter 55 all the way to the very end today, and we're going to find out what's happened in the end of our story. Now, just a reminder of what's been going on. So Ruskin has found Krindlekrax, and he is now going to try to tame him because he wants him out of Lizard Street. Now I'm going to start reading from chapter 55. Listen very carefully and you can read along too. Chapter 55. Krindlekrax saw the golden medal and stopped shaking. It sniffed the medal. Ruskin jumped off Krindlekrax's back and rushed over to Elvis. "Oh, please wake up," pleaded Ruskin, shaking Elvis. "You've got to go to bed. It's not safe out here tonight." But Elvis continued to sleep, snoring slightly and reaching up for the ball. Elvis found the ball and gripped it tightly. He got to his feet and started to bounce it. Da-boing, da-boing. Krindlekrax heard the bouncing and, losing interest in the medal, roared at Ruskin and Elvis. "What can I do?" thought Ruskin, panicking now. "There must be a way to tame the monster. I just don't know what it is." And then Ruskin heard something. "Eek!" went the noise. It was the pub sign. Ruskin looked up, and as he did so, the torch on his helmet illuminated the painting of the baby crocodile with a penny in its mouth. "If only I had a golden penny," thought Ruskin. "But I do have one! The medal! Of course! Corky's golden medal!" Chapter 56. Immediately Ruskin reached out, grabbed hold of the medal and hurled it into the crocodile's mouth. The medal stuck at the back of Krindlekrax's throat. Krindlekrax closed its jaws and stared at Ruskin. It didn't move. Ruskin got to his feet. It had started to rain now, and there was the sound of distant thunder. Raindrops landed in Krindlekrax's eyes, giving the impression of tears. Although, of course, the medal was very small in Krindlekrax's throat, it was obviously causing a lot of discomfort. Krindlekrax started to cough, trying to dislodge it. Ruskin stood in front of Krindlekrax and tapped it on the nose with his walking stick. "Don't you like the medal in your throat?" asked Ruskin. Krindlekrax just stared. "Open your mouth," Ruskin said. "Open your mouth and I will take the medal away." Slowly, Krindlekrax opened its mouth. Chapter 57. "Listen to me first, Krindlekrax," continued Ruskin. "If I do this, you must never threaten Lizard Street again." Krindlekrax slowly nodded. Ruskin stepped over the bottom row of Krindlekrax's teeth and crawled into the soft pink mouth. It was like entering a cave full of steam, like when Wendy left the kettle boiling and kitchen got hot and damp. Slime dropped from the roof of the mouth and trickled down Ruskin's neck. The slime was thick and very sticky, like marmalade. Despite the sticky slime and the slippery tongue, Ruskin found it oddly comforting in the mouth of Krindlekrax. It smelt of toast and reminded him of home. Ruskin dislodged the medal from Krindlekrax's throat and crawled back out of the mouth, clutching the medal in his hands. "Now go back to the sewer," exclaimed Ruskin. "Lizard Street is full of my friends, and I don't want you threatening them." Chapter 58. Slowly, Krindlekrax turned around and started to walk back down Lizard Street towards the drain. Ruskin watched it go, saying, "Mr. Lace is my friend because he gave me coloured pencils." Krindlekrax started to climb down the drain. Its head disappeared. Ruskin said, "Mrs. Walnut is my friend because she gave me chocolate biscuits." The front legs of Krindlekrax disappeared. "Dr. Flowers is my friend," said Ruskin, "because he gave me a handkerchief." The belly of Krindlekrax disappeared. "Mr. Flick is my friend," said Ruskin, "because he gave me a photograph." The back legs of Krindlekrax disappeared. Mr. and Mrs. Cave are my friends, said Ruskin, because they gave me some cherryade. The tail of Krindlekrax disappeared. And Elvie and Sparky are my friends, said Ruskin, even if they don't want to be. Chapter 59. The street was empty except for Ruskin and Elvis. There was a crack of thunder and lightning, and the rain suddenly poured down. It felt cool and refreshing, and Ruskin stared up at the sky and let the rain splash over his face. Then Ruskin looked at the pub sign. Eek! And Corky is my friend, said Ruskin, rain bubbling between his lips, even if he's not here any more. Chapter 60. And as Ruskin said this, so the rain washed away the peeling paint of the sign, erasing the baby crocodile. Ruskin glanced at Elvis. You can stay out in the rain, he said. I'm going to bed. Ruskin put the drain cover back on the drain, then went into the house and up to his bedroom. He got into bed and closed his eyes. The last thing he heard before he fell asleep was Elvis trying to bounce his football in the rain. Da splash boing, da splash boing, da splash boing. Chapter 61. Wake up! Ruskin opened his eyes to see Wendy standing beside his bed with a plate of toast and a cup of tea. I've been trying to wake you for ages, Wendy said, putting the tea and toast on Ruskin's bedside table. How are you feeling? Fine, thank you, replied Ruskin, eating the toast. You're not going to stay in bed again, his mum asked. Certainly not, Ruskin said, jumping out of his bed. It's a beautiful day. Yes, said Wendy. It rained during the night, and it's a lot cooler now. Ruskin sipped some tea, then said, Besides, it's a school play today. I want to see how Elvis plays the hero. You know, Elvis is still my friend, even though he doesn't want to be. That's what you were saying in your sleep, Wendy said. You were saying Elvis is your friend, and Mr. Flick is your friend, and... She was interrupted by someone knocking at the front door. Who can that be? Asked Wendy nervously, then added, Polly Wolly Doodle all the day. Winston poked his head round the bedroom door. We've got a visitor, he said. They're knocking on the door very loudly, Wendy said nervously. It's not my fault, said Winston. Oh, stop it, you two, cried Ruskin, pushing past them and rushing down the stairs. Why are you so nervous about everything? Ruskin opened the door and found Mr. Lace on the doorstep. Oh, a tragedy beyond words, exclaimed Mr. Lace, running his fingers through his hair and sucking a pencil. What's happened? Asked Ruskin. Elvis was sleepwalking in the rain last night, cried Mr. Lace. He's caught a terrible cold and he can't do the play any more. You're the only person who knows the lines. Mr. Lace grabbed Ruskin's hands and squeezed them tightly. Please play the part, he begged. We need you. I'd love to, said Ruskin casually. Then looking back at Wendy and Winston, who were hiding at the top of the stairs, called, Get dressed, you two. You're coming to see me do a bit of acting. Oh, Polly Wolly, began Wendy. Stop saying that, interrupted Ruskin firmly. It's not began Winston. Stop saying that, interrupted Ruskin, even more firmly. Just get to school. I'm going to be a hero. Chapter 62. The whole of Lizard Street came to St. George's Main Hall to see the school play. Ruskin and Mr. Lace stood behind the makeshift stage curtain at the front of the hall and peered through the crack at the assembled crowd. Ruskin was holding a plastic shield and a sword. Are you nervous? Asked Mr. Lace, sucking a pencil. No, replied Ruskin. Not at all? No, said Ruskin. No, Ruskin said. Why should I be? I told you before. I was born to be a hero. Mr. Lace put his arm round Ruskin's shoulder and squeezed. I think you're right, said Mr. Lace. Beside Ruskin was the cardboard and chicken wire dragon. Ruskin looked up into the red milk bottle tops of its eyes. Let's do the battle, he said. Mr. Lace rushed to the side of the stage and pulled open the curtains. A few people in the audience gasped when they saw Ruskin dressed as a hero. One or two of them were even tempted to laugh. But as soon as Ruskin spoke, all that changed. As soon as he started his performance, everyone believed he was the hero. There was no doubt in anyone's mind. They sat there, eyes wide, mouths open, totally captivated by the magnificence of Ruskin's acting. At the part in the play when Ruskin jumped on the back of the dragon and cried out, "Oh, you terrible monster! You scary thing of the dark! You will scare us no more! I am not afraid! I have tamed you, and now I am your master!" People in the audience clapped and cheered. Chapter 63. When the play was over, Ruskin was given a standing ovation. Mr. Lace lifted Ruskin into the air and cried, "A hero!" Everyone patted Ruskin on the back and said how wonderful he was. People came up to Wendy and Winston and spoke to them. "Your son is such a good actor," said Mrs. Walnut. I don't think anyone could have done it better." "Certainly not," agreed Mr. Flick. "He's our little star." "A star, absolutely," said Dr. Flowers. "I never knew he had it in him." Even Mr. and Mrs. Cave came over and remarked how good Ruskin was. "You must come to the pub and have a chat," said Mr. Cave, putting his arm round Winston's shoulders. We don't see enough of you." Mrs. Cave said, "You must be proud of your son." "We are," said Wendy. "He wants to be an actor and act in plays by Shakespeare." "Don't say that name," cried Mr. Lace, tears springing to his eyes. Everyone laughed and vowed they would try not to say Shakespeare in the presence of Mr. Lace again. Ruskin watched everyone talking and laughing and having a good time when, "Ruskin!" said a voice. Ruskin turned to see Sparky Walnut